One thing I want you guys to kind of think about as you look at this is, this is the landscape really of what, the sort of pocket material looked like in the American farmer. I mean, this is it. And then, so when you look at the type and the color and the sort of general spirit, this was the sort of start of us building field notes. Where was that one with the guy who was smiling? Here he is, looking great, and it's full color. He's big, weird hat, he's smiling, and that's cool. This whole thing starts all the way back to about, I'd say about 93, and my first, sort of excursion leaving the Midwest to go west, and then all the sort of, warts and moles in between. Junking, hitting estate sales, hitting, sort of impromptu flea markets and shit along the way. I would use these things, I would find these things and I would use them to draw in, and God, man, whatever I was just talking about, I'm just stopping this is just incredible. I mean, just look at that thing, I mean, I don't know if that's, this is what they used to give you, just incredible. Well, okay, so if you look here, I've got, this is one of probably, 15 to 20 drawers filled with these things. So, as you go through here, I've got any number of all the big feed and seed brands from all over America. A lot of this stuff was just meant to promote their new brand, their new seed, the new whatever technology. There's all sorts of, corn notes and projections and suggestions. And this is the shit these guys were worrying about, man. So as you're figuring out how those things plant, down this little row of corn, well, there's all your data, there's all sorts of little measurements and little guides and gauges and stuff. Like these are, meant to save a guy's life out in some combine out somewhere, out in the field or prairie somewhere. Then when there would be a little bit of a lull, it would just be some advertising or something, and then some guy would get this thing and help him push him over the edge to go with this certain brand of feed and seed, to produce whatever the hell they were producing in 1960 or whatever this one was from. Some guy actually lived out of this thing. And as you look here, it's just chicken scratch, 927, a couple years later, here we are at 8-1. Like some guy, this was kicking around in his, 1950 truck or something. I don't know, there's just something really cool and really American about that, I don't know. And as these things sort of get, worked into my little collection, his handwriting will be through all these years. Is there any value to that stuff? No, there is paper. But there's just something so incredible to me about a guy's life and how he documented it all. The idea that would go to landfill is like incredibly sad to me. Who made this? Who designed this? That little logo and just that extra little star, and then how it tells you exactly what this thing is. It's a memo book, and digging into who actually may have built these things. I think it's company by company. As you go through here, some are really, really colorful, and then others are really, really, really spare. They were all different, so I want to think that someone was actually going through and laying every little bit and piece out. Every little piece was thought through, you can tell that much. Purely utilitarian and free of really, anyone attaching anything cool or uncool or ironic or whatever to it. Look at this big gnarly skew number, whatever the hell that thing is, unit number or something. Look at this, just dudes sitting around talking corn, man, that's pretty good. And then this is the best part of the book. The whole thing is just, it tells you, handy note pocket with a shitty little arrow. Just incredible. I kind of could figure that out. That's a cool little fold there, but we lost that. We lost that you say, be careful of the crack, watch your step, whatever. Enjoy this. Turn here. We're losing all this stuff because everyone's just so smart. They understand all this shit. And it's I don't know, there's just some sort of innocence in these things. Some of them will just have sort of jokes and shit. They just fill in space, Yeah, the idea that I would go into some, contemporary feed and seed, it's I kind of leave that stuff alone. The stuff I'm looking at and collecting and finding and sort of rescuing, it's from dead sources. I'll often go into places and find just a big gross rubber band on a stack and it'll just say $2 or something. It's just weird to me that they'll articulate out stamps and other weird little, the E word ephemera, but yet, when I ask them about memo books. They just look at you like, no, we don't do any of that kind of shit. No, don't know what you're talking about. Like, that's usually what I run into. It's this sort of like, why are you, who cares? I mean, unfortunately, all of us, we're the 1% out of how many grillion percent that care about this crap, This whole project is a way to just sort of get these in somewhere so at least we have them. Because in junk stores, in antique malls, and the places I have the last couple, they're still sitting behind glass, or they're maybe still, sort of rat holed away in some widow's, junk drawer or whatever. Those are still there, but they're quickly becoming landfill. Look at this. Okay, so you'll see here we've got the collection. There's a number of steps, and first step being just sort of like organizing, should it be by, sort of geography? Should it be by color or size or style? And I think it's just all of the above and none of the above. Let's just start at number one and work our way through. So that's really just getting them into a pile, number one. So you figure we have 1,000 books or 800 or whatever the hell the count was. And, I have the state-of-the-art Epson scanner from 8 or 9 years ago, and just line them in there, about 4 up, something like that. Get them kind of straight, and then they'll sit in that little flatbed, of course, and take a quick scan of those things. Somewhere between 35 and 40,000 DPI at 100%. And then taking them into the Photoshop and building this master set of PSD files to give back to my buddies in Chicago, who will then take those things and build them into this big web archive, of course. Yeah, so this is kind of what it's going to look like as we get these things all ready to be loaded up. I mean, and the idea that none of this stuff is going to be that clean. We're going to celebrate all the little dirty smudges and edges. And I mean, look at just the rust and creepy ass shit inside there. I mean, we've got these things scanned in so nicely. You can see that really crummy sort of bad halftone grain. And then maybe if there's time, I mean, that's the hard part here is like, look at that, just this majestic spread of Windsor, Nova Scotia, where Colonial Fertilizer was from. We might want to get the backs too, which basically I think I just doubled the size of the project. God damn it. Well, anyway, like this is going way back. So that is probably turn of the century, easily. Elephant brand, whatever the hell, that's some sort of fertilizer. I mean, there's a lot of stuff about fence, putting fences up. 1956. The next time you're driving across goddamn whatever Iowa, stop and think of what, I do. And I know it sounds like, yeah, right, you yuppie asshole, whatever. But I really stop and think like, this field that I'm standing in front of, someone toiled over that for generations, And while I sit on my big ass clicking a mouse all day, it really puts things into perspective of how lucky and how, thankful I should really be every hour, So I don't know. Maybe that, as this thing projects in full color glory to you guys, while you're sitting in your goddamn nice office or lean-to or Supermax cell or wherever you're at watching this stuff, think about this stuff. That's what these things mean to me. They mean, regular people working really hard.